You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. I am back. It's rare that we have a nighttime live stream, very dark in the studio tonight, but it's really setting the stage for us to talk about the full moon in Sagittarius, which happens at about 4:15 a.m. Pacific time. So tonight is the night. Tonight's the night to do your rituals, your practices that you love to do around the full moon. And actually at the end of this episode, I'm going to share a few little ideas if you're looking for inspiration on ways to work with the full moon. 2 or 3 simple little things that you can implement. Maybe your first little dipping of your toe into manifesting under the moon, or just working with the moon cycles in general. And in this video, we'll also go through what the full moon means for you based on your rising sign. So this is a great time. If you don't have a copy of your birth chart, get one out. You can get one anytime at thespiritualjournalist.com/birth-chart or using the QR code in the corner. And we're going to be talking a lot about what area of your chart this is activating. So get very familiar with your chart. And if you're finding this video later, if you don't happen to be joining us live, I'll go ahead and add descriptors, markers on the timeline so you can just jump to your horoscope. So let's go. I want to talk to everybody about this Monday before we get into the Tuesday forecast. The moon's in Sagittarius, setting the stage for this full moon. How's everyone feeling? It's only been a few hours since I last talked to you, but let me know how you're feeling, because Mercury's in Gemini now. We have a lot of Aries energy playing out. Mars and Chiron are getting activated. Jupiter is in Aries. And then we have this full moon in Sagittarius. It's Gemini season. The energy is buzzing and there's a lot going on, and it might feel palpable. It might manifest itself as a little bit of anxiety right now because this is a lot of really big energy that we're working with. So if you're right there, I feel you also. For those of you who are here this morning, you know, my whole house has been turned upside down in the course of today. I feel like I've lived 5 lives in the past 24 hours. We're having AC installed. So it's been a fun day. Rose says, I have lots of energy, but it's disorganized energy. That is the perfect way to put it, Rose. And this is why I love doing these shows live, because you are co-creating them with me. You know, your input brings awareness to different aspects of each transit. Yes, this is the way I would describe Mercury in Gemini. Mercury moved back into Gemini this morning, as we talked about, and Mercury's still at 0 degrees Gemini too, so it's definitely that scattered, disorganized energy. We want to do all the things, learn all the things, especially under the full moon in Sagittarius. We have all of this energy today. The moon harmonizing with Mars, harmonizing with Chiron, healing moments, triggering moments, lots of energy, and it can really feel stuck in our bodies. So you know what? This is just going to be a show where we're just like going with the flow. I have a very loose plan, but it's a night show. We're hanging out. If you're joining me live, just like take a moment to shake out any stagnant energy in your body. Like shake out any anxiety, any tension, let it release. Maybe take a deep breath. and just let this be part of your full moon practice tonight. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be easy. It can just be this chat where you're taking a moment to reflect on what's going on in your life. Court says, feeling it. I have been burning up all day, so literally feeling it. But, I think that's my body's way of staying grounded. Yeah, it's like burning off all of the energy. I have really been feeling called to ground today a lot, like slow down. It's like my body is telling me to do that, because fire in me, I don't have a lot of fire in my chart. I have just a little bit, and it's a lot for this earth sign. And, well, my air kind of likes it a little bit, I will admit. Okay, my baby has tons of disorganized energy, too. He just learned to crawl, so he crawls away from me mid-wipe during a diaper change. Oh, my God, Rose, that's hilarious. That is, like, total fire air sign energy that we're talking about. Like, oh, squirrel, just off to the next thing, That's basically a description of how my brain has been functioning all day. All right, but this episode, we're talking all about this Tuesday, so kind of getting ahead of things today. And the heavy hitter, the headline of this Tuesday, June 14th, is, of course, the full moon in Sagittarius. When the moon opposes the sun at 23 degrees, we have big energy. That is for sure with a full moon in Sagittarius. And we'll talk about some of the other transits coming alongside this. And yeah, I'm curious to know, I love to look back. This is a great thing to keep in mind too as you're having these reflections. I love to look back on where I was at this full moon a year ago. When you start tracking the transits, it's almost like you're like, oh yeah, that full moon, rather than, oh, last June or last May, whenever the last full moon in Sagittarius was. And that's just like a really fun way to track your progress in life or just your evolution. And a full moon is a really beautiful time for celebrating all the growth that you've made over the past year, especially a full moon in Sagittarius. Okay, now that I pulled up the famous birthdays, I am like, I don't even know if I want to read them, but I'm going to because I have to. It is what it is. June 14th, notable birthdays. And number 1, Donald Trump. Ugh. Okay, I'll leave it at that. No politics here. Also, Lucy Hale. That's it, really. Nobody else. Harriet Beecher Stowe. Okay, a historical figure. Interesting. I was like, should I bring up birthdays today? And I don't know. Let's talk about the full moon on a much happier note, a note we can all agree on here at The Spiritual Journalist. We care about what's going on with the full moon. The full moon in Sagittarius, happening at 23 degrees. So I told you to pull out those birth charts. Take a look at where 23 degrees falls in Sagittarius. Do you have any planets there? Do you have any planets at 23 degrees in Gemini? Hey, while you're at it, take a look at Virgo and Pisces. Also, the mutable signs are going to be activated the most by this full moon, but specifically taking a look at what area of your chart the full moon in Sagittarius will fall in at that 23 degree mark. And if you're having a little trouble, but you know your rising sign, just wait for the horoscopes and I'll basically tell you what area of your chart this is activating. This full moon is called the strawberry supermoon. This is the time of year when, well, at least right now, when the moon is getting very close to Earth. And so it appears bigger in the sky. It's what we call a supermoon, in the science world. But it's also known as the strawberry moon because this is the time when the short window when strawberries would be blooming and, when our ancestors would be celebrating their harvest. So this full moon is really like a summer celebration. It's happening right before the solar eclipse. As the days get longer, when we're aligning with these moon cycles, these are the times our ancestors would be staying out later and enjoying each other's company more, definitely in Gemini season, right? Harvesting plenty of fresh produce. Life's a little bit easier, just picking, your strawberries out of your garden and eating them. This is very idealistic of what it was like being our ancestors. But, this is kind of a way to look at abundance and wealth through a different lens because that was wealth. That is wealth. I shouldn't even say was. Being able to grow food from the ground and not pay for it is abundance. That is currency. It's energy. And so, this is a time where we're talking a lot about abundance in this show, but I want you to kind of think about, what does abundance look like to you? What feeling does it give you? We'll dive deeper into this when we talk about the rituals you can partake in tonight, but just really thinking about, what does abundance feel like to me? What does that look like in my life? Not just the raw cash that you want handed to you, right? Who doesn't want that? This is actually, we've been talking a lot about manifestation, but this is an especially powerful full moon to practice gratitude first. And that is what I would recommend today, practicing gratitude first. Because Sagittarius energy is very gratuitous. It's very optimistic, and it's like you're acting on faith alone and knowing that the abundance is there to greet you. And it can be a little bit like spontaneous, like jump, and the universe is going to catch you. That's kind of Sagittarius energy. And because it's associated with abundance, it's, the Sagittarius people in your life probably don't mind picking up the bill. They want to treat people. They want to share. Whether it's sharing a story or sharing their, home or meals, they're very generous people. So we can all kind of lean into that generous energy. And that might not mean buying something for someone else. It could be just doing a random act of kindness some point over the next 2 days. Tomorrow would be a really auspicious day to do that. Because, law of attraction, when you put out, you will receive. Now, okay, I have to go on a tangent here, you guys, because I had the weirdest thing happen last night. And you guys are just my friends here. So I was up really late. The moon was trine Jupiter. I could not sleep last night. I'm running on fumes, you guys. I told you, we were just going with the flow. And Joel Osteen, or Osteen, the guy who, he runs the huge church and he has late night programming that comes on. I am not a religious person, just FYI. I did not grow up going to church. That's not to say I'm not spiritual, but I don't identify as any one religion. And so immediately when that comes on, my tendency is to just turn it off. But something was telling me, just watch. And I was like, why? I would never watch this, but I did. I turned it back on. And the message was so freaking spot on for this full moon, you guys, and just for the inspiration I needed of what we're going to talk about today. And so I have to share. So he talked, of course, through the lens of praying to God, but I love to think of manifesting as praying. It's really the same thing. You're asking a higher power, or declaring to a higher power, even hey, this is what I want, and being brave enough to say, this is what I want. And it would be so awesome if, I could receive that, right? But Joel, is it Osteen or Osteen? Somebody tell me. Give me a little pronouncer in the comments. He was talking about this specific verse in the Bible. Again, I don't really resonate with many verses in the Bible. That's not the thing that really gets me going usually. And I don't have it quote for quote. I'm sorry for all of you who are into the Bible. But basically, there's this quote that says, if you believe, you will receive, essentially. That is the quote. AKA the law of attraction. If you put out the energy of belief, if you have faith that the universe is going to give you what you want, then you are in the energy of receiving. And he even went on to echo things that my mentors have taught me about manifestation, which was just so funny, because we love to say religion, or this, or how many wars are started over religion, but a lot of the teachings are so similar, which is just so silly and backwards. But I digress. So he said, in order to receive, you first must believe. And he really talked about this happening with his mother who had cancer, and he went on to give all these anecdotes, but essentially he encouraged what's it called? I feel like I'm so not a churchgoer, the people of the church. He encouraged them, instead of saying, dear God, please give me this thing I really want, saying, dear God, thank you so much for making me healthy. Even if that wasn't their physical reality at that moment, thank you so much for healing me. I receive your healing. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you is one of the most powerful ways to manifest. The most powerful ways. The Sagittarius full moon is that time to make a big old thank you list for your life. Make a thank you list for yourself. Start with gratitude. Notice the things that are so abundant around you already and attract more of that. And that's what makes it easy. And I start with this tangent because there are some transits tomorrow that might bring up doubt and fear and kind of try to derail you from that a little bit. But stay in the thank you. Stay in the gratitude. If it's not working out, figure out what is. Say, hey, thanks, universe. Thanks, God. Thanks, goddess. Thanks, spirit, for putting that obstacle in my way. I don't know what that's there for yet, but I have faith that there is a better plan for me, and I trust that it's all going to work out. That is the optimistic spirit of the Sagittarius moon. And it's funny because Sagittarius rules higher learning. So like college, institutions, these institutions that have kind of shied away from religion for many years, but you have to think back to when astrology was birthed, right? Those institutions were the church. And that's not to say those institutions should still be the church, but there's a lot of wisdom gained in those settings. When you're, I picture Sagittarius energy like sitting in a lecture hall, being curious, how many people in college really stop to be like, wow, this is so amazing that I have this opportunity to get a higher education. This is not something that I take for granted, like it's all about opportunity and the abundance you have around you. Being in college is like one of the most abundant situations I think most people are ever in. Everybody is eager to learn. They want to make connections. They want to move forward. You have this like faith that you're just going to get this great job after you graduate. But if you're a millennial, maybe not so much. Anyway, this has been a tangent, but I just thought that was so wild that my intuition said, watch that program, watch that Joel Osteen program. And it was just, I want to just record it and play it for you guys because everything he was saying, I was like, wow, this is just law of attraction manifestation 101. And he even said some variation of, and so it is. And that is a phrase that one of my mentors, Kat from Crystal Rising, taught me. And when you are manifesting something, when you're praying for something, when you are speaking your desires to the universe, saying, thank you for making me healthy. Thank you for giving me the connections that that are divine, that are going to lead me to the highest good. Thank you for these things as if they have already happened. You're also telling your brain that these things have already happened and you're subconsciously setting yourself up to do the things to make them happen. But you're also affirming to God, the universe, that you have faith and you trust and you're surrendering and it's all good. And that ease is what is so magnetic. So just feel into that under the Sagittarius full moon tonight. Feel into that right now and hold on to it a little bit. It's okay if it slips. It's always there. That's the faith piece. There is always abundance all around us all the time. Okay, I need to stop. I'm going to turn into my own Joel Osteen right here. Right? There's so much overlap with spirituality and religion, but lots of differences, yes. But it's so many of the same things. And the deeper you get into spirituality, you see that a lot of these figures in the Bible, like Jesus, like Mary Magdalene, are revered in spirituality as well. It's just the structures that religion has created and the rules and the rigidity and the shame that is tied into a lot of religions for a lot of people. That is, I think, where people like myself get a little bit not as into it. Okay, we're going with the flow here, and let me plug my headphones in because we have a little special guest, and Rose the bee, and the pollen path like we talked about this morning. Hold on, we got to get the headphones paired. Here we go. The pollen path, like that is the abundance around us. We're all working together and being part of this collective energy, and that is abundance, right? Like picturing yourself as a bee in the hive of humanity, putting out the good energy, adding a little bit of honey and taking what you need, but just there's more than enough to go around. And Heather, you are right on time. Yes, yes, yes. When we slip, that is where the lesson is. Wise words from Denise. All right. Are we ready for our special guest?
Hello.
Hello. Okay, hold on. I don't know if I can hear you, but I think everybody else can. Can we hear Court?
Can you guys hear me? I can hear you.
Let us know. You guys, this is a co-creation. We got to know if we can hear. If we can hear, you're the field producers.
Hello. Is anyone out there?
I still can't hear you, but I don't know if that's just me. Let me see. Oh, you can't hear us both. Okay, well, I need to be able to hear her, so or I can't have a conversation with her. So,
hello? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Is there an echo, everyone? We're just doing this.
There's definitely a bit of an echo, but I can hear you now.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to try a different set of headphones. Hold on.
Okay.
There's no echo.
I surprised you too. Yeah.
You did surprise me. I was just like, if you feel like it. How are you feeling? Oh no.
Yeah, good. I feel like I'm in my cozies, everyone. I got like ready for bed and I was like, you know what? I'm just coming in like, a little secret guest. Yeah, I've definitely felt the fire energy today. Like I don't feel sick, but I just feel really warm and like hot. So I don't know why I'm wearing a wool sweater, but it's cozy. Yeah, so I've just been feeling that the energy here has been really like, even in your house, obviously there's a lot going on, but the energy around me is like pretty buzzy. There was a car accident outside the house yesterday. Like I heard the whole thing, like the brakes, like it's just been like, whoa.
Yeah. That's kind of what's going on, feeling
Totally.
turned up. Yes, that is how it's even like I put funny songs like with the transits, that I feel like embody them, and everything I'm doing right now is like up, let's go, it's just oh my goodness, Heather, I'm so sorry. My friend's husband died in a motorcycle accident yesterday. Please be careful around the full moon, everyone, too, There's a time where things that are big things happen around a full moon.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Heather, and can we just take a moment to send some love to Heather and this family that's affected? Just taking that moment is a lot, and that is part of what we're talking about, the abundance, the hive energy, like it's not just about sending good things out. It's about being the abundance around other people when they're not in that state or not able to reach for it as easily. So just want to honor you for sharing that. And and life is precious. And that's kind of what this full moon shows us too. It's like the abundance is precious, life is so beautiful and delicate, and I don't know. I've been on one today, as you can tell, Court.
Yeah. No, I think I love that because like I think your mom is a Sagittarius, right?
Yes. Oh, and by the
way,
speaking of things not going according to plan, she was supposed to fly home from Nashville today. Her flight got canceled. She's there for another day. And part of me, when she told me that, was like, that's the universe working in your favor. I don't know how that is, but I feel that it is. And I was like, maybe it's even just a day to slow down, It's
yeah, I think that actually how you just said, like the universe working in your favor, I think that is very Sagittarian as well, because there's so much going on right now, which I shared a little bit about like with you with what's going on with me, but I'm sure everyone kind of has something. It feels like there's been a lot of like walls or like bumping up against like walls and just being like, no, like this isn't working. And I mentioned this to a friend and she said, well, it sounds like the universe is directing us. And I'm like, and that's very Sagittarian because it's like we have to have faith and trust in something like what you were just talking about before, in a path that maybe we don't even fully know yet.
And we don't. We surely do not know. Like that's the thing we are sure of. We have no clue what's coming next. And yeah, and it's funny because my mom is like the ultimate live, laugh, love. Like, have you ever seen that TikTok that's like live, laugh, love, and it's like the song of like the lady going through her house? That is my mom. Or just like dream. Do you know how many things she has that says like dream around her house? You know, she just always like, she always loved she used to have these little like affirmation cards that she would pull. She always has been like kind of spiritual, but not really, you know, just like having these little practices that just like these affirmations. But she's Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius sun, Gemini moon, so she's got that full moon energy. Yeah, she's a lot.
I love that.
But yeah, that's like, I share that because it's tying back into this faith component, right? Like having faith in something else directing everything, balancing everything out how it should be, even when we just don't get it, even when it's like really hard to understand, you know?
And that's when the true like test of faith is, right? I think that's what Sagittarius teaches us. Like, you can say you have as much faith as you want, but then the universe will come in and give you some test, and it's like, how much faith do you have in this, right? And it's like, that's when we learn what true faith, I think, is. And I think that's what something I love so much about Sagittarius energy is that it's obviously philosophical, but it stretches its brain. Like the brain of a Sagittarian is like, something will happen and then I don't know how to explain it or put it into words, but I just love the way that they approach life, really, and just like the way that their brain expands when they're learning new things.
Well, and it's mutable energy. Like we talked about mutable signs really being activated by this. Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces are the 4 mutable signs. It's that adaptability, and it's why all of them are really kind of associated with the mind in some way, shape, or form, because the mind is the thing that's constantly evolving as humans. Of course, the body is too, but in a different way. The mind is like, you know, just constantly pulling in different pieces of information. Of course, the 4 signs do it in a very different way. You know, I think Sagittarius is probably like the most fun sign to learn with.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like trusting and expansive. But I mean, Gemini too, but I really, I lean into that Sagittarius vibe. But yeah, and it's like fun ways of learning too. Sagittarius is associated with long-term travel. So this full moon on a much lighter note could bring like this wanderlust feeling, like I'm just going to do it. You know, I'm just going to go and see where the road takes me, buy a one-way ticket. Like this full moon could spur those things for you. And we'll go through each sign, but especially if you're certain placements or if there's stuff going on in your 9th house during this full moon, like, sayonara.
New adventure.
Yeah. Summer travel season's kicking into high gear. Even like you might have a trip coming up this weekend. I feel like a lot of people are going to be traveling this weekend after this full moon. So, you know, somebody said I've been feeling third eye activations. Definitely. It's funny because I actually wrote third eye in the forecast for tomorrow. I got another thing where I was just like, I'm not going to say keep your eye on the prize. I'm going to say keep your third eye on the prize. And then you say that, which, I mean, of course you do. Of course you do. I want to talk about the other major transit that's happening. Well, there's a few major things happening in the background, but something to keep in mind that I think, well, you know what? I told you I'm all over the place. We're going to go through what the moon is doing, and then I want to end on this note because I want to end on a high note, of course, with the true Sagittarius vibe. We got to end on a high note. So this full moon, let me bring up the chart. This full moon is squaring Neptune loosely. I mean, it's not exact, but basically squaring Neptune and forming a sextile to Saturn retrograde. And, you know, that Neptune is making a T-square essentially to the full moon, which can bring up confusion with Saturn there too, especially Saturn retrograde. It's just kind of like doubts could come up, and that almost always happens when you're in like a quantum leap or you're catapulting or you're going forward. It's like, you know, when you're getting ready to step out of the airplane to skydive, there is going to be a voice that says, is this a good idea? I mean, I would assume. I've done it, and that's the voice that came into my head. So I don't want to speak for everybody, but
There's
You
like that
know,
one person that's like, no, I'm just going for it. Like has zero fear. That one
right?
person.
But
Yeah.
honestly, that fear can be kind of healthy too. You know,
Mhm.
that is
Mhm.
our like animalistic instinct, especially with the fire energy. We're kind of in that like go mode, that animalistic mode. But there's a use to that, like, oh, should I check before I go? You know? So
Yeah.
sometimes those things are coming up for a reason, and not to say that you shouldn't do the thing, you shouldn't expand in that way that you're feeling called to expand under this full moon, but really, you know, pay attention to what comes up. That's kind of a, I almost see that as like a red flag, like this is what's stopping you from getting the thing you want. You know, it's kind of like a
Mm.
siren going off, like, oh, you have this belief here that if you jump out of the plane you might die, and that's
Mhm.
true. That's very true. But you also might have the best experience of your entire life, you know?
Ooh, that's a really good way to like analyze that energy. I love that so much.
Have you been skydiving?
I've been bungee jumping and I've
Okay.
literally like it was so much fun, but getting to the end of the the bridge where they tell you to jump, I resisted it pretty hard and it was like I was really in my head. And the person who was running it, he was like, "Okay, we're gonna count backwards from 10." He got to 8 and pushed me.
Yes, that's the best. That is the best.
That's the universe. That's literally what the universe does. If you are like, if you're psyching yourself up so much, like you get stuck in your head, something is gonna come along and be that person that pushes you, and it's like, "You're ready for this, like, you gotta go."
Exactly, exactly. And when you skydive for the first time, someone is, you know, strapped onto you. So
Right.
once you're in, I mean, I'm sure you could be like, no, I don't want to do it. But that guy is really looking forward to it too, you know, and he's done it like a million times. So yeah,
Yeah, good for
there's a part
you.
where you're just like at this person's will, which is kind of nice because it would be really hard to fling yourself out of a plane, I think. But
Yeah, oh,
anyway,
totally.
back to the forecast. So the moon is squaring off to Neptune. This can also create, you know, this is like a lot of mutable energy. It can kind of create some like, what is reality? Where is our imagination taking us? Imagination can turn into worry really quickly with Saturn retrograde involved. I will say though, like Saturn retrograde being sextile to the full moon and trine the sun, I think later this week, it's kind of helping it slow down a little bit in this buzzy energy. I could see that being a positive, you know, just like, whoa, okay, take it one step at a time.
Yeah, like, take a beat here for a second. You've got, like, a
Yeah.
lot going on. I think there's gonna be even more going on than yeah, I just took a big deep breath in that moment. Like, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of things starting to come through that maybe hasn't felt like it has been. Um, so we'll see what happens, but yeah, I think that's gonna be nice to just, like, okay, chill for a sec. Give yourself a quick second here.
When you said like take a beat, I heard like a dad being like, whoa, kiddo, you know, like, right? Like Saturn being that dad that's like, all right, slow down there. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, but like, take it
Yeah.
easy, you
It's like
know?
the kid that's, like, running around being, like, so excited, like, "I have all these things," and then it's like, "Okay, we just need to, like, not have another piece of sugar for just a second and, like, just regroup," you know?
This is like an astrological sugar high with all this fire
Yeah.
energy. You know, like Jupiter is in a fire sign right now, Mars is in a fire sign right now. It's, you know, it's there's a
Mm,
lot. There's a lot of
yeah.
energy that's moving
It's
through
like
us.
adrenaline junkie energy.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. And I feel like that's gonna kind of carry us even when the moon moves out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn. And I'll explain why in
Mhm.
just a second. But yeah, anything else you want to say just about like this square to Neptune, especially with Neptune being your ruling planet, like you're a Neptune woman. Um, I just feel like it could just bring up a lot of like confusion, or like even when you're manifesting, like, how am I going to make that happen? Or like, is that really possible for me? I could see that, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely have been feeling that actually personally because this is like literally on my rising sign and then on my midheaven. But I was talking to a friend earlier today about this, and we were, she had mentioned that with Neptune, she kind of feels like there's been part of her that's pushed that away because there's a lot of things within our society that's like, oh, don't live in like the dream world and all this kind of stuff. But I think I said this to you before as well, but like there does come a time where you need to be a little bit delusional about what it is that you're wanting to bring in. Because and this is what I said to her, if we were just completely realistic all the time, those big dreams and ideas that people have been given, such as like Elon Musk, I don't know, Alexander Graham Bell, like they had these ideas to invent something, and part of them had to be delusional because no one else thought about it. So it's like that's the side of Neptune that I think can be really empowering. Although the logical brain and Mercury being in Gemini, it's like we do want to know the how. We want to have the pieces, and we're not getting that. And that's the tricky part.
Yes, or there's like so many pieces. It's like overstimulation that you're like, where do I go? You know, like you pulled the Archer, Sagittarius, you've pulled back your bow and you're like, okay, but which way am I going to shoot all this energy right now? You know, that could come up too. But good. Yeah, healthy delusion for sure. Neptune is, you know, and creativity. Creativity is in a way like a form of delusion. You know, it's like being willing to just see things in a really weird way or let your mind wander even. But I think I said this morning too, but I love that Neptune and Saturn are both at 25 degrees right now, both making connections with like every other, you know, planet that's connecting with both of them. Because it's like delusion and practicality. It's like both sides of what we really need to manifest, to be honest, you know, understanding like we're capable of this and we're grounded and we're practical and we're not just like, woo, we're going to have all these things with no plan. Saturn helps us like, okay, let's have a plan here. Let's actually take some steps. But Neptune is like, and you're also going to be a millionaire. And that's a fact. That's Neptune.
Yeah, literally. It's so interesting. It's such polarizing energy. And we said this morning, but I literally feel it.
Yes, it is you. It's so true.
It's so contradictory because it's like on one hand, I'm like very Saturnian, like I need to have my routines that I have in the morning every single day. And then it's like Neptune's like, let me just float around here and like be in outer space.
Yes. But and then when those blend, that can be just confusion. It can be like, it could even come across as like delusional confidence in a way. So, you know, there's a lot of ways this can come through in the mutable energy, but don't be surprised if you're like, I do not have it figured out right now. And I'm just kind of like,
none of us do.
They're going to shoot. Yeah, exactly.
No one knows what they're doing. Yeah.
We're all just trying to human. When the moon moves into Capricorn, this happens tomorrow afternoon, about 12 hours after the full moon. It's really going to help us continue that slowing of the pace, I think, which I really see this Capricorn moon, even though the moon is in detriment in Capricorn, it's usually like has this very negative connotation. I just have like a really nice feeling about the waning moon moving into Capricorn. Kind of like we have these big dreams into the Sagittarius full moon. I was still like what we were talking about, the abundance, it's all possible, yes, but the Capricorn moon's like, okay, and now stay in that abundant energy under the full moon, but like, let's make a map, let's make a plan, let's figure out how we're going to get there, let's do a budget. You know, we're favoring more of these like practical matters about how we're going to make it happen. And like I said, it's still a full moon, it's still abundant, so it's like focusing on the structures you already have in place, maybe doing some auditing and like, okay, we're capable of this, we've got a system down, we can enhance the system, we've done this before. You know, I just get a good feeling about this Capricorn moon.
Yeah, I think maybe a few years ago I would have been like, oh, a Capricorn full moon or a Capricorn moon, but I actually appreciate it. And everything that you just said, it's like sometimes like the adulting today, you posted about that, the whatever's in your ceiling right now.
Yeah, the AC.
Yeah, like Capricorn moon, it's like, ooh, like those little things can feel really good, right? You're getting things done that maybe have been you've wanted to do for a long time, and that actually can feel quite like it lifts something off of us. And I think that that's, again, like a beauty of the Capricorn moon. So I appreciate it.
Yes, Katie says, love that. Let's go and make it happen. You know what? This just made me think of a Capricorn moon too. I just have to share this because it was really cute. Last
Yeah.
night, my partner and I, he is a Capricorn, he has an Aquarius moon, but we were talking about like manifestation and stuff. And we were doing this like visualization thing. Long story short, I was like, you know, what are you manifesting? And he was like, generational wealth. And I was like, oh, like that's really cute. That's such
That
a
is
Capricorn thing, you know, like working with the abundance you already have and building off of it. That's like kind of, it's like that building block structure, taking what you have, growing that, creating generational
really
wealth, or just, right?
Yeah,
I
I
was
love
like,
that so much.
but I was also just like, the fact that you're thinking about like generational, you're like already thinking about the next generation. We don't have kids. Like, can we just get our own wealth first? But anyway, Katie says I'm a Capricorn man, so I might be biased. But good, you are representing the Capricorn people with your Capricorn placements. I will say though, late tomorrow night, two things happen. The moon squares off to Jupiter, and then we also have the other major transit of the day, which is Venus passing over the North Node. I feel like this could, well, when the moon squares Jupiter, it's like late night snacks, just reaching for something that feels good, you know, whatever that looks like for you. It's really easy to go for it on Tuesday night. You know, it's like anything that's going to flood us with dopamine. We're like, yep, I will take one of those. That's kind of what happens late tomorrow night. So if you're in a space to do that and enjoy and be abundant, yeah, go for it. If you're trying not to do that, like maybe just having the foresight and going to bed early would be smart. Also, let's talk about this going on in the background, because this is a juicy transit that I haven't heard many people talking about that really coincides with this full moon. Venus in Taurus will be passing over the North Node at 11:11 p.m. Pacific time exactly.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that time.
I know. I used to not do the exact minute. I would just round, but then I would start to see things like that, and I'm like, nope, I need to do the exact minute. That's just too good, you know? So I just see like that 11:11 moment, like there could just be this really beautiful moment. I don't think this is like a major transit. I just think it's like a beautiful moment that's kind of like, you might be attracted to something today that like, not even that surprises you, but just like feel into what is pulling you and calling you with Venus conjunct the North Node. That's like pulling you the direction you're supposed to be going, or towards a lesson you're supposed to learn, or even if it's a little bit uncomfortable, probably won't even feel uncomfortable with Venus and Taurus. It's just like, I don't know, the tub of ice cream is calling. Maybe that is your path. I'm not sure, but
I also feel like this could signal like if you're dating or like dating apps, or if you're like gonna slide into some DMs, like this could
not a bad idea.
Yeah,
not a bad idea.
Or open, okay, yeah.
She's like, I'm available. Or, you know, even if you are single, wherever you are at in life, if you happen to be awake and, you know, the moon is squaring off to Jupiter, you're feeling a little bit like you want to feel good, this is a great moment to manifest, and that's a great way to do it. So, you know, sensuality with Venus and Taurus, really about our physical body. Like, even if you're just taking a moment to like feel your physical body and think about how abundant you are, like this would be a great moment to manifest. So even if tonight isn't the night, or you're just, sometimes I'm just not feeling it on the exact night of the full moon or exactly when it's happening, and I just kind of want to do it when it feels more aligned. Tomorrow night is another great night to manifest.
Ooh, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on. Let's go through the signs, because I have already been chatting away over here. Do you want to hang out?
Sure, I'll hang.
All right, I love it. We're going to just do quick horoscopes for each sign. And I'm going to pull a card for each sign, but it doesn't have the guidebook. It's just one simple message. So Just give me one sec here. I feel like I'm like, did you ever watch Kim Possible? That show on Disney
Oh
Channel?
yeah, I did. Yeah.
I feel like I'm like Wade, you know, and she was always like, hey, what's going on, Wade? And he would be like typing.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Feeling very nostalgic with Saturn retrograde. Seriously, I'm having so much nostalgia lately. It is wild.
Mhm.
So many things in my life are
good.
like taking me back. All right. Let's start with Sagittarius rising. So as always, if you know your rising sign, use your rising sign for this. This is really based on what area of your birth chart the full moon will land in. But if you don't, you know, listen for your sign, take it if it resonates. So Sagittarius risings. This full moon is most likely landing in your first house. And this is just like a big moment for you. Like, you are becoming and you are abundant and you are feeling yourself under this full moon. Right, Court?
Oh yeah. Literally, I just love Sagittarians. So I'm like, if you have a Sag rising, like put yourself out there. Like just do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm obsessed.
And the card
Look at
just
this
flew out of the
energy.
deck. I am a spirit having a human experience and I'm here to get closer to love. That's the card that came out for Sagittarius, which is so you if you're a Sagittarius rising. You're just like, I feel like the reason Sagittarius is associated with spirituality is because they have like raw spirit, you know, that just like, that's why they're so abundant. They're just like very spirited people and are willing to put themselves out there and just like, they're very, I don't know, just like most Sagittarius people I know are like outgoing and just like bright lights that shine, you know?
Oh yes. Oh yes. I love Sag. I would, if I could be any other sign, it would be Sagittarius. So that's my
you know, I have a Sag mom, so I'm like, I don't know if I want to be a Sagittarius, but I totally know what you mean. They are just wonderful people usually. Okay, Scorpio risings. This full moon is landing in your second house. Great full moon for you if you're a Scorpio rising. Cash flow, it's abundance in the physical. Like you can manifest money really easily under this full moon. And going back to what we talked about earlier with my whole Joel Osteen tangent, celebrate as if the money is already here. Like treat yourself to a little something, you know, like get a pedicure or a nice dinner or something like that. Like celebrate as if that money has already come in. Now don't go overboard. The square to Neptune could make it easy to just like, woo, I'm gonna party like it's, you know, I have no meat, but do a little, you know?
Yeah. Enjoy yourself. Treat yourself a little. Yeah.
Yes, treat yourself. Okay, what do our Scorpio risings need to know? The moment I embrace my peace within and surrender the outcome is the moment that the universe can truly get to work. So it kind of echoes when I believe I receive, you know, when I surrender the outcome, when I believe that it's coming, that's the moment the universe can truly get to work. When you believe, you're putting out that energy and the thing you want is going to come to you more easily. So just really leaning into you receive when you believe. All right, Libra rising.
Believe. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I wish YouTube didn't have copyright things because I would totally put that on right now. Libra risings. This is a full moon in your third house. And what a fun house to have a Sagittarius full moon in because it's all about curiosity, being friendly, making new connections, which you're probably great at if you're a Sagittarius rising. You probably get along with people really well. This can lead you to new opportunities for learning, for expansion. It might just be like a course comes through or something like that you instantly want to take, just kind of following that curiosity and looking to yourself as a student of life right now, just like really being that student if you're a Libra rising.
Yes, Libra risings. Also, like, get out there in the community. Like, you know, go put yourself out there a little bit with your people close to you. Yes.
Yeah, this is a great full moon to mingle for sure. I also just have to bring this up. I'm pretty sure this was about Scorpio risings, but Roy said, don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. And that is my motto for this full moon.
I love it.
Oh, the Libra rising card I pulled is I am the loving energy of the universe. I am the loving energy of the universe. And that's something to lean into, especially like where your curiosity takes you with that. I see like leaning into quantum physics or astrology or like even astronomy. Like I am the universe. We are literally made up of stardust. See where your curiosity takes you with that little nugget. Oh, and you're a Libra rising. Hi, you came just in time. Love you. Thank you for being here.
Aww.
Cancer risings. I know, this is awesome. All of you being here. Cancer risings. This is, oh no, we almost forgot like a bunch. Where am I going? This is Mercury and Gemini. Okay, where are we going? Steer the ship. Virgo risings, my own sign. What are we doing? Virgo risings, just, you know, you're probably doing something to your house right now, which you do a lot if you're a Virgo rising, I'm sure. But this is a time to really give your house, your home, your family a little extra love. Like really celebrate the abundance you have in your literal home, in your family already. And remember that a happy home is the birthplace of where you will manifest. It's where you sleep. It's where you lay your head down. You go into theta state. You know, you're in the subconscious astral realms, all these things where all of our energy is flowing. I could go on and on, obviously, but your home is like the place where your energy center in a lot of ways, or like where you dock yourself. So this is where you recharge essentially to manifest. Make sure your home is your sanctuary, and it could just be saging your house, or, you know, sprucing a corner up, or just cleaning. If you're a Virgo, that comes naturally to you. And yeah, I think that would be really like a powerful form of manifesting, clearing that space and creating a safe haven for those things to grow and blossom.
Yeah, even like I was thinking about, remember how you had your friend on who does feng shui? That feels like very good to do right now. Yeah, for them as well.
I have been thinking so much about feng shui because, of course, as I'm doing new AC, I'm like, well, I'm going to have to paint now because, you know, there's a wall getting patched up. And so now it's leading into like all of these other things. And I'm like, well, I really need to make sure. I even today was saging after all of the construction people left. And Christina Hollinger, I hope I'm saying her last name right. She is the feng shui expert. And we did a whole episode of The Spiritual Journalist, but I just saw a reel she posted. So follow her. I'll put her name in the comments. And she talked about like different ways to clear your home and bring in abundance specifically for the Sagittarius full moon. And she talked about like saging in the corners of your house, which I would never, I just like kind of wave it around, but she's like, energy gets stuck in the corners. So she's a great follow, especially if you're a Virgo rising right now, just kind of bringing fresh energy into your home. Oh, and Rose says feng shui has worked really well for her lately. Look at that.
Wow.
All right. What do our Virgo risings need to know? I choose to learn through love. Just always a great reminder, if you're a Virgo rising, that, you know, often we like to be a teacher as well, but teaching through love is usually more powerful than teaching through criticism. So just a little aside, if you're a Virgo rising, especially because if you're a Virgo rising, you're ruled by Mercury. We're all feeling a little more scattered right now. Just choose to learn through love. Love is abundance. It's all the same thing. It's all light. It's all positivity, optimism, all that Sagittarius energy. Learn through that and share that too. Leo risings. You are in your element this week because the full moon lands in your 5th house, which is ruled by Leo. So this is the time, you know, Sagittarius full moon, fire sign. We love that for you. It's your time to like strut your stuff. Shine so brightly. If you are a Leo rising, this is like your mission. You are the star of the show. Shine so brightly that you are like illuminating the path for others around you. Let your cup overflow with light and just be that like amazing hype person that you are. And start with yourself, of course. Don't just do it for other people. But once you're like feeling really good under this fire energy, make sure you're sharing the love a little bit too.
Yeah, I love that. I have a few Leo rising friends and they've already messaged me with some stuff that's been going on for them. I'm like, Okay, like this is amazing. We love it.
It's a great time for creativity, for play, just
Mhm.
like joy, having fun. If you're a Leo rising,
Yeah.
definitely. And your card is energy flows where my intention goes. You probably are going to have a lot of energy if you are a Leo rising. Literally so much energy right now. I can't even imagine what it's like to be a fire sign at the moment. But with all of that energy, especially, you know, what we talked about, it feeling very scattered right now, make sure you're being intentional about how you're shining and who the people around you are. And part of that is, you know, being giving. We can get a little stuck in the ego in the 5th house. So just making sure that you're being intentional about how brightly you're shining and where you're shining your light. Cancer risings. Now I'm coming to you. I almost came to you early. This is a really great full moon for you to be grateful for what's going well in your health. This is landing in your 6th house, wellness, even your pets, which contribute so much to our health, right? Being really grateful for your pets if you're a Cancer rising. And, you know, this really abundant, optimistic energy is inviting you to see yourself as a vision of health. Even if you don't feel as healthy as you want to feel, or you're not where you want to be when you look in the mirror, visualize yourself as a vision of health. Give gratitude for all of the small things your body is doing literally every single moment of every day to keep you going in this life and bring you closer to the manifestations that you're putting out to the universe under this full moon. Like, just really appreciate the body. It's going to be huge if you're a Cancer rising.
Yeah, freedom in your body. Like, what does it feel like to be free within your body?
Okay, right as you said that, a card flew out and it said, "My fearless freedom lights up the world." As you said, freedom. Just finding freedom in the body, truly. Because and I love that we can apply this to the body. Like, finding freedom in your body, that is so magnetic. Just being. Like we talked about this morning, just being in your body and being comfortable, that is a vibe that you're putting out, and it makes other people feel comfortable, which you love to do if you're a Cancer rising, you know. Yeah, and this card came up with it, the card for Sagittarius. I'm a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. So worth repeating that came out with your card, Cancer risings.
I love that. So beautiful.
Okay, Gemini risings. This full moon lands in your 7th house of relationships. So if you're a Gemini rising, you are like a magnet for relationships right now. You are fiery, you know, all this fire energy. Air and fire work very well together. This is like a great time, going back to gratitude, to observe how abundant all of your current connections already are, all of your close friendships, all of your one-on-one relationships with family members. This is really a beautiful time for you to be like, I love how it feels to connect with other people, and be grateful for those connections, because again, being in that abundant, loving energy is going to call in more of those close relationships. So if that's something you're looking for, you know, if you're dating and you're a Gemini rising, maybe even just like making a friend date. You know, one of my friends, Tuesday, who's also been on the Spiritual Journalist, she always talks about it, like, go take your friends on dates, you know. Yeah, and if you're in a relationship too, like, just tending to your relationship under this full moon, observing how abundant it is, how amazing it is that you've connected with this other person out of 7 billion people in the world, you know. And really, even if things aren't going how you want them to go, I have been there for sure. This is a great time to figure out what's going right, you know?
I love that. Focus on the parts that you want to expand in your relationships. Yeah.
That is such a great mantra for this full moon. Okay, and if you are a Gemini rising, your card is, "Through prayer and meditation, I create a ripple effect of peace in the world." I love that. I love that it's talking about a ripple effect, your energy having a ripple effect through the relationships you have with other people. And kind of going back to what we were saying about Cancer risings too, and Leo rising, like tending to yourself first. That goes for everybody. Before being in a relationship is going to be important for establishing any relationship. Okay, Taurus risings. This full moon is in the 8th house for you. It can be a dark, shadowy house, but your faith under the Sagittarius full moon, being in that abundant energy, is your guiding light, even through dark moments. So, just know that sometimes facing our fears is part of the journey, and if fear and doubt is coming up for you, that's totally normal. Get curious about it. What's it here to show you? What limiting belief is it bringing up so you can release under the full moon and move past it?
Yeah, that's really good. I also keep like getting that for Taurus risings or Taurus, where this is falling in their chart, that like inheritances for some people. I don't know why that's very specific, but I have picked up on that on quite a few things. So if that's you. Well,
yeah. Well, the 8th house can be like other people's money or contracts or, taxes, things like that. And this is a very abundant full moon. So, maybe some weird connection that you have. Yeah. Something owed. Ooh. Hold that vision if you're a Taurus rising, definitely. I mean, obviously, maybe not an inheritance because you don't want somebody to die, but maybe it's like something that got lost in the shuffle.
From a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. But whatever you're going through, just know that it feels like you're in the dark. It's usually darkest before the dawn. So the next full moon in Capricorn is going to light you up like the 4th of July, and you're going to love it. Okay. Oh, and your card, Taurus risings, is, there is nothing sexier than my authentic truth. Talk about an 8th house card. Sex is very much part of the 8th house. What we do in the shadows, there's nothing sexier than your authentic truth. Sometimes those fears are going into our shadows. That is our truth. That's part of our truth. Even the parts of us that we don't want to admit, that's part of our truth. But that is part of what makes you sexy, is everything that makes you real,
It's the authenticity for me. I posted something like that today. That is like so attractive. Yeah, everyone who's just authentic.
And Sagittarius energy is very like authentic. It's just like, I'm going to be who I'm going to be and you get to experience it, like that's kind of how they are.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it with the Sagittarius.
It is what it is. This is how I am. All right, Aries rising. Speaking of fire signs, this is a very expansive full moon for you. Wanderlust is activated. You are ready to go big in whatever you're manifesting. You are envisioning yourself already there, and it's like an exploration, a spontaneous adventure. Something is unfolding, and it's unfolding fast, and it's taking you to great heights.
I'm like, this is kind of me because I sort of.
Is it in your 9th?
It's kind of like on my MC, so it's conjunct my MC. So yeah, so I'm like, I'm gonna take 9th and 10th just because.
Do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very much tied to each other, But I love this for you happening on your midheaven. Hello, big opportunities. Yes, amazing. Well, yeah, if you're an Aries rising, you're always kind of like a go home kind of person, but this is really, if you were going to, any sort of shot in the dark, if you were going to like try to do something big right now, it's supported for sure, Now, this is not,
I feel like it's like, the arrow is like going a far distance. It's almost like when you see in movies, like people jump the, I don't know, what the big jumps. I feel like Aries is just like, I'm doing it. Like here I go. Yeah.
Or like an action movie where people are like jumping over, and you're like, there's no way they can make it. And then you're like, could they really do that in real life? You're gonna feel like you can, Aries. Now,
maybe don't.
Full moon is a time for that accidents do happen. So luckily, just lean into that Saturn influence. That the what if, it could be helpful for you if you're an Aries rising. Like just pause for that what if for just a moment. Okay, well now it's time for your rising sign, Pisces risings. This is a great moon for your career because it lands in the 10th house. So really a time where we're manifesting long-term goals. If you're a Pisces rising, you probably have a very vivid imagination, and it's a great time to picture yourself already there. Like picture if you are wanting to be in a program or go to college, picture yourself grabbing your diploma on the stage. You know, like it's done. That's where you got to envision yourself. You're there, it's done, and everything else, you're just trusting that it's going to unfold for you.
I love that little reminder. Yeah. Okay.
Also, I just realized I didn't pull a card for Aries risings. So we're going to do some back-to-back card pulls. Okay, Aries risings, here's your card. My outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. Very much kind of what we were just talking about like if you're going to make that big move, Aries risings, make sure internally you're kind of grounded and secure and stable, which is not your natural state. Take a beat, right? Because if you're chaotic internally and you're going to do the big thing, it could cause chaos externally. So I feel like this is almost a little reminder, like ground yourself before you do anything big, but the big things are supported. Sounds like parkour. Yeah, I'm assuming that's what we were talking about with Aries risings. Exactly. Okay, and then Pisces risings. Yeah, that's how I picture Aries, just like doing parkour all the time. You know, that's how they get places. Okay, Pisces risings, here is your card for your big career moves. Ooh, I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love. This is an intense card. This is an intense card, and I feel like the person you're seeing for the first time through the eyes of love is probably yourself under this Sagittarius moon for a lot of people. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying about envisioning it already being done. Doing that is seeing yourself through the eyes of love. I love myself enough to know that I'm capable of achieving this thing. I can envision it. I can feel it. I can smell it. I know what kind of cake I'm going to have at the graduation party. And, you know, that is, to me, that's seeing through the eyes of love, is knowing that I'm capable of doing those things.
I love that so much. And it's the third eye. It's the eye on the card. So it's like, open it up. Yes.
Open up that third eye. Probably easy for you if you're a Pisces rising. So just go there. Okay, Aquarius risings. I'm about to pull a card for you too. First, let's talk about what's going on. This is happening in your 11th house, very at home for your energy if you are an Aquarius rising. And I feel like this full moon is like a big party for you, for Aquarius risings. It's like you and your community, and you're grateful, and you're exchanging energy, and you're all working towards the same cause. This is really a time to appreciate how many connections you have, whether it's connections through your job, connections through social media, whatever that looks like for you, just like really leaning into the abundance of how many other human beings you are actually connected to. I think that's abundance in itself.
Yeah, it totally is. And community is abundance. Like that's like the best thing for an Aquarius, right? So love that.
Yeah, be with your community under the Sagittarius moon, or even share something with your community. The moon is in this very generous sign, so sharing something that you think could help your community would be a really powerful way to call in more of what you want. Like putting that thing out there is going to bring new information to you or new resources to you as well. Okay, and your card, Aquarius risings. I always trust the direction of the universe and know I am being guided. I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. And I think our connections are such proof of that, right? It's like the easiest way to see how we're being guided, seeing the people that we connect with throughout life and the opportunities they bring us, or even like getting that job opportunity because you knew this person who knew that person and they told you about it. Just all those weird little connections, those are all little pings from the universe pushing you along your path. And that's how you're always being guided.
Yeah, who we know is very, very powerful. That's something that I really live by. Like that statement of like, it's not who you know, it's what you know, or it's not what you know, it's who you know. I think it's really powerful to know people and expand your networks because you never know what's going to come from that.
100%. Okay, last but not least, Capricorn risings. I just hear trust and believe for you. This full moon's in the 12th house. A 12th house transit can be a little bit rough. It might feel like really energetically draining on you, you know, just like a lot of energy moving through you. And that can feel like a lot, especially if you're a Capricorn rising. You like to move at a slow pace, and this is a very fast pace. But if fears, doubts are coming up for you, if you feel like you're getting kind of like lost in the commotion of everything, just rest and allow yourself. It's not going to feel natural for you, but allow yourself to just go with the flow, lean into faith, know that everything is being pulled away, brought in exactly how it's supposed to. Your rational understanding is not welcome here. I know you want to be rational, Capricorn risings, but this is not a time to be rational. This is a time to just trust.
Not always easy for them, but great lessons.
But I think Capricorn risings probably like someone like kind of giving it to them in a harsh way. Like,
True.
This is what you're doing. This is the objective. Just believe right now you're going to be fine.
Like, okay, if you said so. Yeah.
Okay, and your card is when I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. So good for the 12th house. Finding peace through faith. Peace becomes real when I lean on the faith of the universe. So beautiful. Amazing. And I wrote at the bottom of the forecast this time something I want to echo now, which is, and so it is. So you can find these horoscopes on my website, but after you read it, after you write your intentions saying, and so it is, envisioning as if it's already happened, that is such a powerful tool. Such a powerful tool. How does this affect me if I got a Sagittarius sun and moon in Capricorn rising? Well, a lot of this is happening in your first house, it sounds like. This is a more complex question than I'm going to get into because we're already over an hour, but just know that if you're a Sagittarius sun, like this is kind of like a new moon moment for you, probably like a kind of coming into a new version of yourself. And if you're a Capricorn rising, there's probably some things you need to release to get into that place. So that's what I've got for you. All right, I want to share a few little rituals. So, some fun things to do to manifest. What do you like to do to manifest under the full moon, or just work with the full moon? Not everybody likes to manifest, and I want to acknowledge that.
Yeah, I definitely echo what you were saying before. Sometimes I don't feel like doing it, like writing, or when I feel like I want to, but I always love to do a good dance.
Yes, such good. Like to do that.
Like a good song and just like, you know, like I really love doing that. So that's my go-to every time, no matter what.
Moon dance. I love that. And I mean, just so perfect for fire energy too, moving your body, kind of like that urge I got, like, can we all just shake it out at the beginning of this? Okay, so I'm going to share like 3 really quick things that you can do under the full moon that don't require a lot of time, energy, effort, or even like spiritual understanding. If you just kind of want to try, I think this is a great full moon to manifest because of everything we've talked about, such abundant energy. And if you're feeling like you want to, do it. There's no right or wrong way. You've probably heard of moon water, right? Like a lot of people who are into the stars talk about moon water. So something I like to do, I don't do this every full moon, but I am going to do this under this one, is just fill up a mason jar. Sometimes I fill up a few, just depending on how I feel, and just put it under the light of the full moon. Now, you can really like supercharge this by either taking a piece of tape or a piece of paper and like writing your intention, writing what you're calling in, or under this full moon, it would be really cool to write something you're grateful for and kind of supercharge the water with gratitude. So you're bringing in more of that. You could tape it. You could just put it on the bottom. You can just stuck it on the top, somewhere on here that like, this is the energy that we're putting into this water. So that's like, I mean, less than 5 minutes, something you can do under the full moon. Now, something I learned from Christina Hollinger, who you brought up, the feng shui expert. Again, she's a great follow. I'm literally gonna write her name in the comments right now because I'm gonna forget if I don't. But she's just really approachable, and She talks a lot
Yeah.
about colors because feng shui has so much to do with colors. So something I've seen her say before is writing something down and putting it in a red envelope. So this would be a great time to write your intentions down and just stick them in a red envelope. Now, red is the color of like wealth, prosperity when it comes to feng shui and, you know, Chinese, ancient Chinese symbology. You could also put that under your water and kind of supercharge that. So like, this is like a make your own thing. You know, it doesn't have to be a right or wrong way to do it. As I was looking for red envelopes too, I got a really fun idea because I have a random drawer full of just like old thank you notes or blank thank you notes in case I need to write a thank you note. And I found these ones. I'm going to do this tonight. I found these ones that are gold and white and they say thanks a million and they're just blank. And I think I'm going to write like a thank you letter to my higher self or just some sort of gratitude in this. I'm going to put it in the red envelope if it'll fit. And I'm going to stick it out with all the things I charge with the full moon. You don't even have to stick it outside. You could, you know, put it on an area of your house if you have an altar or an area that's like really special to you. That is kind of a form of altar. But just having that moment, you don't even have to put it anywhere. You could stick it in a shoebox, but just having that moment of like gratitude. Gold is another color to work with when we're calling in abundance. So if you have any pyrite, got to show off my prized pyrite possession. I will definitely be charging this bad boy under the full moon. I think you're supposed to charge pyrite, but I'm definitely going to under the Sagittarius moon. This is like Sagittarius all over it. But charging your crystals, you know, that's a very common thing to do too. So if you're really trying to manifest with crystals, charging those crystals under the full moon would be a great practice. Also, something fun to work with is cinnamon. Many cultures use cinnamon for abundance. So Christina, I've seen her do something where you like kind of blow cinnamon out your front door. You could put it in like a crystal grid. I'm going to make a crystal grid tonight and put a little bit of cinnamon in it. So just, you could even like put a little on your hands and blow it onto something that you want to bring abundance to. I don't know all the reasoning behind it, but there are several cultures who believe in this. And if it works for them, it works for me. Okay, a couple more things. This is the strawberry supermoon. And these are 2 little baby strawberries from my garden. But I brought them because I did not plant my garden this year. These are from plants I planted last year, and they just decided to grow again because I was lazy and didn't tend to my garden beds. But I feel like it's a reminder. Eating red foods would be great right around this time if you're calling in abundance. I just had some watermelon too. A lot of the foods that are natural this time of year tend to be red, which is cool. But you could even, you know, just taking that moment if you're growing something in your garden to appreciate the abundance that's coming from the earth or eating seasonal food, tying into the abundance of the current season. Red food, seasonal food, anything like that. Okay, and the last thing is a candle practice. So you can do this with any candle, and there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but I would just recommend if you're manifesting under the full moon, like really trusting your intuition and what feels good and what feels exciting for you, especially under this moon. But you can, I'm not going to do it because I don't have the setup to show you close up, but what you can do is even take a little piece of paper, and you get the bottom of the little birthday candle melty, and then you stick it so it sticks straight up. You see what I'm saying? Like, it gets melted, you stick it, it sticks straight up. Anyway, you want it to be, you don't want to hold it, right? Because you want to watch it burn and you don't want to burn yourself. So getting it to stick up somehow. And then just lighting the candle and literally watching it burn, watching the flame, working with that fire energy. A lot of people who, you know, yoga practices use this form of meditation using a candle. Sometimes our mind can wander easily during meditation, and staring at the flame gives our brain something to hold on to. And I love working with fire under any fiery full moon because it's really a beautiful symbology of releasing, which we do after the full moon. Watching energy move. Fire is a really cool way of watching energy move. And it's really representative of like the release, but also creation and abundance, right? Fire is a very abundant energy, but after a wildfire comes through, the land is especially fertile. So there's a lot of fire symbology you can lean into. And as you watch the flame, and this will take maybe 10 minutes to burn. You don't have to stare at it the whole time. Maybe you do a little meditation, or you write your letter to yourself, something you're grateful for, maybe something, a thank you note to somebody else as well. And you do that while the candle burns. But watching the smoke be released, watching it be alchemized, watching the things that you've been holding on to be released so you can be more abundant, watching the wax melt, watching it fall apart and create something totally new. There's so many things to be gained by literally just watching a little birthday candle. It can be cool to set up a little crystal grid around it too. If you want to bring in different crystals, you can go as big or little as you want with it. But a lot of us just have these sitting in drawers, and you probably have one, and it will be a simple little ritual you can do under the full moon. If you have a red one or a gold one or any sort of color that excites you, I would use that one personally, but even just a plain white one is totally awesome. But yeah, you could do a mix of those things. Just follow what is fun to you under the Sagittarius moon and follow your curiosity. And if you're like, I wonder if anybody ever does this, Google it. We live in the information age. You're going to find so many cool ideas that other people do. And these rituals aren't about something magical happening outside of us. It's taking that moment to believe. It's taking that moment to align with the energy, to watch the candle, to picture ourselves alchemizing. It's kind of leaning into the energy all around us by watching energy move. So it's really more about getting into the state of abundance than like you're doing this superstitious thing to make something magical happen. That's how I see it, at least.
Yeah, it's an intentional practice for yourself. It doesn't have to be right or wrong. There's nothing that you're going to do to mess it up. It's just a moment for you to connect to something Sagittarian greater than what you know, right? That what we can even put our minds to. And yeah, those are beautiful. I'm going to do the writing the letter. I really love that idea.
I wasn't even going to include that. And then this random card came out. So I was like, yeah, I think that will be a fun, accessible, and you could do that in a journal. It could be as simple as a gratitude practice. You don't even have to do the birthday candle, watch the flame. You could literally just light a candle and write down 5 things you're grateful for, and you are manifesting. Congratulations. Yeah. It can be simple.
Yeah. I love it.
All right. Well, this was so lovely. Such a fun departure from my normal morning live streams. Thank you all for going with the flow with me this week. And just, I'm live when I'm live and I'm not when I'm not. And we'll see what happens next. But I can tell you I will not be live tomorrow morning because there will be more things happening in our attic. And I probably won't be live again until Thursday morning, but I will have something out for you every day. This will act as tomorrow's forecast. And, for those who find it later, they'll be able to just jump through all the little markers, fast track it if they don't want to listen to me blab on about Joel Osteen or whatever.
It was good. That's like part of it. That was such a good reminder of what this energy is.
Oh, and Heather, I'm thinking of you. Wow. Heather was telling me about this. Tomorrow on the full moon, it's her son's 15th birthday. He has a life-changing meeting on Friday. All of this was unfolding during the eclipses. And she's been like in paralysis, waiting for an outcome. And so just faith, trust, believe. The fact that the stars are aligning this way for you and for him is a good sign.
Yes. Sending you so much love.
Yeah. Lean into joy. Feel as if it's already happened. And so it is. Thank you, universe, for allowing this opportunity to unfold exactly how it's supposed to, for leading my son on the path of highest good, for overflowing our cups so we can share our abundance with other people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. It is done. That's it. Everybody take that, use it if you want, and have a happy full moon.
Woo! Happy full moon, everyone.
All right. I will see you all live later in the week. Whenever I see you next, court. As always, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.